All right, it's Saturday morning, and we are looking at our first officially closed OG trade today. So the OG trade is this weird, wonderfully weird trade that has a strange history with me. Actually, it goes way back to when I first started learning options. I met this guy, this old cowboy dude, in an airport up there in Oakland, California. We were both waiting for our flights, and I just made a whole separate video. If you want to see the whole backstory of this, just check out this video. I'll leave a link in the description below, and the thumbnail looks like this. Basically, this guy was trying to explain to me what he called a risk-free trade, options trade that you could put on where there was no risk from the very beginning of the trade, like at initiation. And that's something I've been trying to figure out for the last 20 years, for as long as I've been trading options. I spent countless hours trying to figure out a way to create a risk-free trade from initiation. And I found a bunch of different ways to tweak a trade. I could never find one where I could consistently put one on that was entirely above the zero line on the risk graph, but very close with a couple of tweaks. Once the trade was off and running, if it went the right way and it did what I expected it to do, there was a way to tweak them so that we could put the whole thing, we could rise the whole risk graph above the zero line, so it was a risk-free trade. But I could never figure out how to put one on at initiation. And just a couple weeks back, a good friend of mine, Conrad, he sent me this trade that just really piqued my curiosity, because it looked like it was a trade that could be put on at initiation entirely above the zero line, like a risk-free position. And as I started to dig in deeper and look at it, it turned out that I'm pretty sure it was the same trade that this guy way back there in San Francisco airport in the early 2000s was trying to explain to me. But I was just so new to options, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I couldn't figure out what he was talking about. But I think that this is the same trade. So anyway, a couple weeks back after Conrad showed me this, I decided to go ahead and put on a couple of these trades in a real money account. And this is the first one I put on. So this is one on Apple. And there's a series of videos on my channel that go through the history of this trade from initiation to a couple of adjustments. And if you look back, just look for any of the thumbnails on my channel that say OG, the OG trade. I'll try to include them in my description, the video description below as well, so you can go back and just kind of see the various stages that this went through. This is a trade that expired yesterday. So these are the options that expired yesterday, February 16th. And this is with about 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes before the expiration, before the market closed. And this is the way the position looked at that point. And before I started to talk too much about this strategy and explain how it was made and everything, I wanted to just test it for myself and make sure that it was legit. So this is the position that was put on with zero risk. The trade was put on initiation for zero risk on Apple, maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can look back and you can see, just look for the thumbnails that say OG. Here's one here. This is on a different trade. This is on Tesla. This one's still open, and I'll look at that in a second. But that's one. The ones on Apple, if you just scroll down through my videos, you'll see, here's one of the updates. And this is just the various stages of the trade after I put it on initially. So let's look at, let's go back. Here's one. Here's another one. Everything is to do with the cowboy, because this guy that was first trying to explain this trade to me, he was kind of like this rancher dude in the airport, the OG. And so there's one, and here's another one, and then this is the original one. Check out this one. This one shows the whole kind of the backstory of it, and I think the first trade as it was put on Apple. So anyway, this is the trade as it winds up, as it finishes. This is like 10 minutes before the close yesterday, on the day that all these options expired worthless. Everything expired, and we wound up with a total profit of $186. And again, this trade was put on at the initiation, where this blue line, which is the expiration line, was completely above the zero line. There was absolutely no risk, no way for the position to lose money. It was a completely risk-free trade. And here I'll zoom out a little bit. You can see sort of what it looks like zoomed out. So on this is way zoomed out, so you can see all the way down to zero. No matter what happens, we'll make $184 guaranteed profit. There's no way we can lose on the downside. There's no way we can lose in this middle section where we're currently trading. And there's unlimited upside position. So if Apple were to take off to the upside, we have potential to make even more money, just unlimited upside potential if it were to rocket off to the moon. But here you can see, zoom back in a bit, you can see that even if it were to come down a bit, come down like this is the 10% downline. If it were to come down 10%, we have this nice little triangle butterfly position here that's embedded in the whole entire position. You can see that if it were to come down, we could make additional profit up to around $500 on the pink line, or if it were to expire at the money, like at the 160 level, we could make all the way up to $1,000 there with this little butterfly structure here. This is a little tiny dip below, but it's not anything that I was concerned about it at all, because if Apple were to move up, you can see how this pink line is just, we make a lot of profit coming up before it turns into this ultimate unlimited to the upside profit potential. And there's a super quick, easy tweak we could do if this were a problem. This wouldn't be a problem until like the last 30 minutes, hour to 30 minutes on the last day of expiration. And you can see that we're nowhere near that. So this is the OG trade test number 1, and it's a success. And it's just really kind of I'm kind of boggled by it. It's like, I can't believe it's like the whole time I'm trying to figure out what am I missing here, waiting for the other shoe to drop. But it seems to be completely legit. So we have another one on. So about a week ago, I put on the second one. Let's take a look at that one. And here is that position. So this is the same sort of thing. This is the OG trade on Tesla. And again, this trade is initiated. So this is at initiation. And you can go back and see the video of when I put this trade on. But it was completely above the zero line. It's completely it's floating above the zero line. As far as we zoom all the way out, we can see that all the way down to zero. The worst case scenario is that we'll make $312. No way to lose on the downside. And where we're currently trading, if it just hung out right where we're at, we'll make $312. And if it goes up to the upside, if it takes off to the upside here, you can see 10% up. We make up to $1,235 right here, and all the way up. If it continues up by expiration, we can have it caps off at a profit of $2,312. So again, no matter what happens with this position with Tesla, worst case scenario is we make $312. Best case scenario is that we make $2,312. And as you'll see if you go back and look at the various videos on the Apple trade that I did, there's ways to continue to kind of tweak this and milk it to even get this line to come up higher and higher and higher, so that our guaranteed profit could be ultimately more than 312 no matter what happens. And there's also another super quick, easy tweak we can do to turn this thing into an unlimited upside potential, so we're not capped off there. So anyway, that's just a really quick weekend update on the OG trade. We have one closed down successfully. Everything is looking as it appears to look. The way the Apple trade turned out, no surprises, exactly what I expected to happen. And the Tesla trade is working along the same way. So this is going to be a strategy that I'm going to start to use regularly, and even find additional ways to tweak it and milk more money out of these things while keeping the risk-free position. And I'm going to start to build an interest list on this. So if you're interested in learning more about this trade, how it's built, why it works, how to put them on, how to place them, how to tweak them and adjust them to milk even more profits out of it, just reach out to me, email me, let me know that you're interested in getting on the interest list. I'm going to build out an interest list, put some training together, and hopefully within the next couple of weeks, I'll have that ready. We'll all become OGers, ranchers, cowboys, trading this super cool trade. Oh yeah, and one last thing to think about is that there's also another tweak that we can make to this, another way that we can use this strategy to pull dividends out of the underlying that we're using, which is super cool. I mean, if you can put a position on with no risk and just have it sit there with absolutely no way to lose money, no risk to the downside, unlimited upside profit potential if it were to take off to the moon, and at the same time just milk that dividend, that's like the ultimate OGer. A super cool concept. And it's something that's completely doable with this, which again, I'll be exploring more with more experimental trades here going forward and putting that training together if you're interested in that. So again, if you're interested in following along with me on this trade, and if you'd like to join the interest list for the training I'll be putting together on this, just make sure that you're subscribed to my YouTube channel below. Click that subscribe button, and also go on over to my website, join my free email newsletter over there. As soon as you join that newsletter, you'll get a welcome email from me. Just reply back to that welcome email. Let me know that you'd like to be put on the interest list for the OG trade, and I'll get back to you and we'll go from there. All right, that's it for this one. Have a great weekend. Talk to you later.